Hello, I'm John King from the University of Central Lancashire. In this video I'm going to talk about dark patterns. These are the ways that video games and websites play sneaky tricks on you. Have you ever thought about mobile games and how they make their money? Video game makers need to be able to live. They need food and drink to survive. They need a roof over their head. And they also need to be able to buy geeky stuff. So they build games to make money. Now, one way to make money is if the player buys the game. However, there are other ways to make money. Let's look at an example game. This one from an app store is available as a free download. That means you don't have to pay money up front for the game. The screenshots show the game in action and it looks pretty exciting to me. However, it does warn you that this game has adverts that are shown to you and in-app purchases where you can spend money to buy additional things within the game. That's how they make their money. Before we play the game, we need to install it. The first thing it asks is for an agreement to certain things. We need to allow the game to collect information about the player to show adverts that suit. We also need to agree to collect information about the player so that the game maker can learn more about players. Now, these are important to think about. Why do you care about other people having your information? Well, there's the danger that criminals might steal that information from the game maker. They might use it to find out things about you, what your name is, or maybe in extreme cases where you live, and you might not want criminals to know that. So you need to be careful who you share your information with. The last thing that we need to agree with is the game maker's legal warnings for playing the game. You can see that this particular game is played with a ball that bounces around and you rotate the objects in the game to move the ball through the level. As you move through the level, you score points, and then at the end of each level you're told how well you've done. Now, within that game there were in-game adverts. These adverts appeared during the game, sometimes floating on the screen or more usually at the bottom or the side of the screen. There are also things called interstitial adverts. These are adverts that appear between the levels, so when you complete a level it then shows a small advert, and then at the end of the advert you can then move on to the next level. Another way that the game makes money is potentially through in-app purchases. You can pay money to hide the adverts. See here, there's a button marked no ads, and when it's clicked on it takes you to a screen where you can pay to remove the ads. Now, there are some sneaky tricks in this game. The first one was with the installer. You notice when we agreed to give our information away, one of the things it said was, I agree to play for free. Do you really need to agree to play for free? It turns out you don't. If you leave these unticked, you can still play the game. The only box that needs to be ticked in this particular game is the legal agreement. So this is the first example of a dark pattern, a trick question. It appears to say something, but when you read it carefully, it says something different. If you refuse to allow them to use your information by leaving those boxes unticked, they nag you. So the next screen comes up saying, are you sure? And with a big box saying, I'd like to go back and change my settings. Now, if you say, yes, I understand and confirm, then it tries to shame you into changing your mind by nagging you again. This is a trick called confirm shaming. It makes you feel bad if you refuse to do what they want you to do. Here's another trick. When we close the interstitial advert by pressing the little cross at the top, we see what appears next to be a little micro game, but it's not. It's actually another advert. As soon as you click on it and start trying to play the game, it tries to download another game. Here's another trick. Are these buttons part of the game, or are they something else? And it turns out no, they're not part of the game, they're adverts. So that's another sneaky trick, a dark pattern called disguised adverts. They may look like other things, but they are trying to tempt you to click on them. They are adverts. Here's another thing that's a sneaky trick. You beat the level, so now you try to beat the next level, and the next level, and the next level. And it turns out there's no end to this game. It's impossible to win or complete the game. We call this dark pattern an infinite treadmill. The more adverts you see, the more money the game makers make. So let's think about what we've learned. We've seen there are many types of dark pattern. We've seen trick questions, confirm shaming, disguised adverts, and an infinite treadmill in our game. But there are many more out there. Now you're familiar with some, you know what to watch out for. Don't be tricked. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've found out a little about dark patterns and you now know about some of the sneaky tricks that video games and websites play on you.